Hello nerds, welcome back to another video. It's Stitching Saturday today. So we're gonna talk about knitting and crocheting. I have my laptop right here with me because the videos I personally love most to see now are the everything I crochet or knit in this year. I enjoy them so much. Honestly, I wish I could do them, but that's why I have my laptop. A lot of the things that I have made in 2024, I have gifted. And I forgot to take decent pictures of them. So there's no way for me to show them to you. But I am happy to tell you, I finished 13 things this year, both in crochet and knitting. 6 of those are socks. 5 of those are sweaters. 1 is a hat, and I finished 2 blankets. Today, however, we're gonna talk about the sweaters because those were all for me. And it's basically the first year I knitted a sweater. That is technically not completely true. I started knitting sweaters in 2023. My first sweater I started at the 10th of January in 23, and I finished on the 21st of January in 2023. And then I started another sweater that it was such a fast pattern, such an easy pattern, and so well described that I thought I could modify it. So I started another sweater, but on way tinier needles, and that took me over a year. Because I started that sweater on the 1st of February in 2023, but I finished it on the 25th of April this year. So there is basically one sweater I finished the year before this, but I feel like, it fits my learning process. So basically I do see that as, 1 year. I know it's technically 2. But I do want to include my first sweater ever. And, the whole doing it sweater that took over a year was a huge learning curve. So I really want to talk to you about it. I want to go through all the sweaters I made, from the first one I made until the last one I made. What I like about them, what I would change, what yarn I used, how I like the yarn, do I wear it, stuff like that. So let's dive in. The first ever sweater I made was the Clara sweater by Tinderbox. It's a crochet sweater because crocheting for me, even though I haven't, I started crocheting in 22 at halfway the year, maybe the end of the year. So I wasn't crocheting for a long time, but I felt more confident to crochet a sweater than knit a sweater, which is weird because I have been knitting since I was 8. But I never did anything else than scarves or blankets. I could not read patterns. Those were the very old, charted, not well described patterns, and I couldn't vibe with it. And also my mom didn't learn me a lot of, she learned the basic knitting to me, and she learned purling to me, and doing cables, but I had no clue. There were multiple ways to cast on or cast off. She just taught me one, and that's it. So, although I have been knitting for years, I do feel like this is the first year I truly knit, if that makes sense. At least it's the first year I made garments. And I think I've learned a lot of that. But I felt more confident crocheting than knitting first. So I started with a crochet sweater. That was my first sweater ever. I did that because Tony from Teal Yard Crafts was so excited about making her first sweater and making it fit and making it exactly how she wanted. She convinced me that I could. So I did crochet a sweater. It's the Clara sweater by Tinderbox. First of all, pattern is great. It has different boxes for every row, so it is very clear that this box is what you have to do now, and until you finish this box, you move on. So you don't have to look where you are in a pattern. It was very well described, very, very beginner friendly. She recommends this pattern as a first time sweater, and it was very easy to follow. It is also on bigger nooks. It was on 6.5 millimeter hook, which makes it goes really fast. My first sweater I crocheted in 8 days, which I think is insane. You know, I was committed to working for 3 months on my sweater and I finished it in 8 days. This is a top-down sweater, so it is very, very addictive. I was just making it and fitting it because crochet you can fit so easily. You don't have to put it on different cables, you know, try on tubing, you know, get your hook out, put a stitch marker in and fit. I was fitting every half hour. No, but almost. I was so excited, and you just see it grow and grow and actually, you know, see that it fits. Was so motivating to do. So I flew through this pattern. I used Danica Fado in the color purple, and this is quite a prickly yarn. It's an Aran weight, and it consists out of 62% wool, 26% goat mohair, and 12% manufacturer's fibers, aka nylon or polyamide. It's too scratchy for me to wear on bare skin. I love this sweater. However, as a beginner, I made a huge error in blocking. I didn't squeeze out enough of the water, or I hold it up. I don't know exactly. However, the sweater stressed immensely. And instead of reblocking it, putting it back to the original measures, I threw it in the dryer. And I did it on the wool stand every half hour, but you know, it didn't shrink. So I put it on higher, and then it felted a bit, which is very, very sad. And that's why I haven't worn the sweater, because I didn't know how to finish the felting. I have peeled it now and it looks better. However, the neckline is very wide, and I don't remember it being like that. So I think that is also because I blocked it wrong. There is also, you know, a bit of holes under the underarm because I didn't have my tension right quite there, or didn't do, you know, getting extra stitches together just to make that tight, because this is the part where it, you know, tends to stretch. So unfortunately, I haven't worn this a lot. I think I worn it twice, which is sad, but it also, you know, is a testament of how, you know, it is my first sweater, and it was fine when I finished it. It was lovely. I just fucked up the blocking, and I think, you know, that's happening. That is just what happens when you're new. You mess stuff up sometimes. And at this point, because it has been felted a tiny bit, I don't know if I can rip it out and reuse the yarn. So if you happen to know, please let me know down below. Could I reuse this yarn and, or, you know, recrochet it? Because I do love the sweater, and I think that, you know, if I recrochet it now, it would be so much better. So, you know, I highly recommend this pattern as a beginner. If you're a beginner, you want to start your first crochet sweater, this is it. It is very clear. It is a very easy pattern. I just loved it. The yarn, if you're very sensitive, This is not a yarn you can wear on bare skin. I am quite sensitive. I cannot wear this on bare skin, but there are people that are more sensitive to me. So if you're highly sensitive, be prepared to wear something underneath. If you don't like that, this is not your yarn. The second sweater is also a Clara sweater. I started it on the 1st of February in 23 and I completed it 25th of April this year. The pattern of the Clara sweater is so well explained and so easy in structure that I thought I could replicate it on just 3.5mm needles because I like finer stitches. I like the look of them. That didn't go as planned. I thought I would just do, let more stitches for the neckline and then just crochet until I was on the underarm like the Clara sweater and then go on. But I had this very weird back, or like it was too wide at some point and then I rapidly decreased, so there was a lot of puckering in the back, which isn't great. It looks fine if I've blocked it, but not as good as I wanted. This took a lot out of me to figure out how to make this sweater and how to make it fit. It has been in the naughty corner for a while. That's part of why it took a year, because I was just so done with it. But I did finish it. And I love the ribbing on the bottom that I did. So if I would make another Clara sweater, I would definitely do ribbing on the bottom, but probably also on the cuffs. Maybe even on the collar, because I really, really enjoy that. And I do like this one better. The stitches are tinier, but they're also way neater because I have been crocheting more. So you can already see the difference between the first and the second sweater, even though that second sweater took me over a year. And you know what? I didn't know any math for recalculating your size. Now I do. So I probably would recalculate like my gauge compared to the other sizes, which big size will give me the fit I want with my gauge that is so much smaller than a pattern asks for. And it would be all great and it would be fine. But I did like that I had the confidence to do that the pattern gave me the confidence to do that, and the result of the first sweater, that's incredible to me. I very much enjoy that. And I actually, on the front it looks great. So, and I don't see the back. However, I made this out of Enamel Melody, which is 100% wool, and it is too scratchy again for me to wear on bare skin. It also has a bigger neckline. That is just how the Clara sweater works, but it's like the first one is on my shoulders, which is not how it's supposed to be. This one is how it's supposed to be. I want to wear this more, but I was so done with that sweater because it took me over a year and then it still wasn't perfect like I wanted it to be. So I'm glad I took them all out for pictures a couple of months back, so I can now wear it again. I just have to find a bit of a wider long sleeve to put underneath so you don't see it through. If I wear it with a scarf, it's fine. To work, it would be totally fine because then I usually wear a scarf, but in the house I don't. So I haven't worn this at all, except for the sweater photos. But I will. But it's just better. This is a good sweater for on high-waisted pants because I shortened it quite a bit. But I am proud that I changed stuff already for my second sweater. The third sweater is another crochet sweater. It is also by Tinderbooks. It's the Danica sweater. The third sweater is another crochet sweater. It is also by Tinderbox, it's the Danica sweater. This is also on 3.5 millimeter hook. I made this with Hobie upcycled alpaca blend. And I steam blocked it because it was alpaca. Because my swatch grew quite a bit, like a huge. And I was like, a sweater is heavier, it's bigger, it's gonna grow immensely. I still had a bit of a trauma of my first Clara sweater, so I was like, let's not do it. So I bought a steam blocker. And I steam blocked it. The dimensions are great. It fits so well. I love this sweater. However, my sweater is not as soft as my swatch. This is also on 3.5 millimeter hook. I made this with Hobie upcycled alpaca blend. And I steam blocked it because it was alpaca. Because my swatch grew quite a bit, like a huge. And I was like, a sweater is heavier, it's bigger, it's gonna grow immensely. I still had a bit of a trauma of my first Clara sweater, so I was like, let's not do it. So I bought a steam blocker. And I steam blocked it. The dimensions are great. It fits so well. I love this sweater. However, my sweater is not as soft as my swatch. So right now I cannot wear it on bare skin. Whereas with the swatch, I feel like I could wear it on bare skin. So I have to wet block this. And I just have to be sure that I put every stitch back in the same dimensions as this was. And I think then I can wear it on bare skin, which would make me wear it more often. I love this sweater. It's my second worn sweater. I enjoy this so much. It has a high neck, a collar, and I love it. It feels so cozy. Again, the pattern is very well written, very clear. It isn't hard at all. I love this sweater. I'm gonna wear it till it falls apart. I love it. And I started this on the 1st of August and I completed it on the August 10th, so it took me 9 days to make this pullover, which is not a lot. Crocheting sweaters are so addicting and my nerve is letting me do them. So I just go. That's the only thing I do then. And I love this sweater. I would recommend it. It's just on a smaller hook and it's, it has a collar. So it is not difficult, but there are more techniques, like you have to fold, you have to skip some stitches for the holes. And because it has a collar, it is longer and it is on smaller needles. That's why she didn't recommend it as a beginner sweater. However, if you're willing to say like, I'm fine with crocheting for 3 months on a sweater, go for it. You can do this one. It isn't hard. It's just on smaller needles, so it will take you longer. And you don't get that instant gratification. Although I have crocheted in 9 days, so I think that's pretty fast. I love it. Then we finally got to my first knitted sweater. It's my favorite adventure by Dragonheart Designs. I absolutely love this sweater. I made it out of wool from Atelier Woolbees, which is a BFL sock yarn in the colorway tree bark. I saw that she had some still left at the end of December. So you might be able to get it. I actually was tempted to buy a second sweater quantity because I love the color. And I mixed that with Cool Wool for Sock Ply by Lana Grossa. This sweater is on the cups. I can wear it on bare skin for a limited time amount. Overall, it's just a tiny bit too stretchy for me to wear bare skinned all day. It is close, but it's not there, and that's probably the BFL because that is a bit more itchy than normal wool, and especially more than merino yarn. I love this sweater. It's my first knitted sweater, and the funny thing is I started this the 23rd of April, but I finished it in August 16. Knitting takes so much more time for me than crocheting does. I crochet so much faster than I knit. So this sweater took me a long time, but it's worth it. I love it. It's technically a colorwork sweater because it's 1x1 colorwork. I shortened it because I've made it crop length because I love wearing this on a dress. It's fingering weight, so it isn't too warm. It's a good fall sweater as well, but it still keeps me warm enough in most days of winter, unless it is very cold. But then I will go for the Danica sweater any day because it's so cozy. I love this pattern. I will be making more. I am currently making one. It's just a raglan. It's a top-down raglan. So again, you can fit it, but knitting has to be on tie-down tubing. So it's, harder to fit than crochet because you just can't do it right now. But it can be done. It is top-down again, so everything is gonna fit. You can try it on every single time. I absolutely love top-down sweaters. I would highly recommend this. I love it. It's, a raglan is good beginner's sweater, I think. 1x1 colorwork, probably not. But currently, I'm just knitting this in stripes because it is just a basic raglan sweater. So, I can, as long as I hit gauge, I don't have to do the 1x1 colorwork. However, I will be making more of these sweaters with 1x1 colorwork because I love them so much. I love it. This is, unfortunately, so far my only knitted sweater. But I love it. I will make more. Then we have another Danica pullover. And this was on a 4.5mm hook. I made this with Hobby Winter Glow. And it was a bit more lightweighted than the pattern asked for. And I wanted it more oversized, so I chose to make the size XL. And I used 343 grams of Winter Glow yarn for that one. And for the rest, I did follow the pattern but normally I make an L. That's all. I started this on September 13th and I finished it on October 8th. So again, it didn't take long. Crochet sweaters are so fast. I'm not sure if I'm completely happy with the fit. I do like it. I think it would be better if it is a tiny bit shorter. But I think it might be just 5 centimeters. Like this much, maybe. I liked it tucked in and I wanted this to be a sweater that I can tuck in and, blossom a bit, fluff a bit. And then hang low in the back. I'm just not sure about this. When I see it on, I was like, it's weird because when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I'm not sure about this. And then I look at videos I take and pictures and I was like, oh, I love it. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I enjoyed it. Again, the pattern is great. Would recommend it. The problem is though, I only tried crochet patterns by Courtney from Tinderbox, and I would really like to diverse out. I would like to, try from different designers in the crochet community. But I have a hard time finding one I really enjoy. I think the crochet community is more creative than the knitting community, and it shows in their designs. Unfortunately for me, I like very classic sweaters, and the very creative sweaters are just too much for me. Too out there. I don't, it's just not my style. I don't dare to wear them. I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable in it. And then, everything granny based is too holy for me. I don't like that. I don't like to make it see through. So if you know a crochet designer that has very classic sweaters, like Tinderbox does, but somebody else, because I would really like to see more, support more crochet designers, please let me know. Please leave a comment or send me a DM on Instagram or in the Discord or whatever, because I would love to have more crochet designers that I can pick patterns for and buy them, and knit all those, or crochet all those sweaters, because they're so fun. I enjoy them so much. And then my last sweater of the year is the one I am wearing. I am calling this my Cozy Day zipper sweater. This is a ribbed quarter zipper sweater, and I drafted this myself. I could not find a quarter zip sweater crochet pattern that I liked. There was one quarter zip crochet pattern available. I bought it. But the sleeves were granny stitch, so I wanted to change that. But I don't know. That pattern wasn't well written for me. It wasn't as clear. I don't think it was tag edited. And that made it more unclear for me. So I end up not using that pattern, because there were a lot of things in that there was just chain as a start, whereas I personally like the foundation chain more. So I was already, doing things differently, and then the gauge wasn't right for me. I drafted my own sweater. This is made out of panels. Unfortunately, I do not like making a sweater out of panels. You cannot fit it until it's all assembled, and then there's, you have to get it all out, rip it back, and do it again if you want to redo something. Like, if the length of the sleeves is not enough, you can add. But if it's too long, you have to take the sleeve out of the sweater, basically do the whole panel again, because you can just, the panel is made from side to side to make this rip effect, so you can't just take out a bit of length. You have to rip out the whole panel and recrochet it. So I personally don't like the panel sweater. However, if I want it ripped like this, I think this is the only way I can go. And I made this sweater based on the Danica sweater by the Korea Bay design, because I love that sweater, but my nerve wasn't letting me knit, so I needed to crochet something. I love this sweater so much. I made this with Drops Fable. It's a sock yarn held together with Lana Grossa Bella. This made for a very, very soft fabric. This is the only sweater I can wear on bare skin. I have a folded collar, so I crocheted longer and then folded it double, which makes it sturdy. Unfortunately, there are some parts in the collar that I should reinforce, because it's getting a tiny bit holy, probably because of the weight of the sweater is all on the neckline. But other than that, I love this sweater. I think it would made better if it was a tiny bit longer, which is funny because I first had it longer and then half the ribbing because it was too long. So, you know, I this is my most worn sweater simply because it is easy to throw on. I can wear this on bare skin, so I don't have to find something for underneath it. It's a pullover, so I can just pop it on and ready to go. This sweater makes it look so professional. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I definitely want to make more collar zip sweaters. Luckily for me, after I finished this, 1 or 2 weeks later, Tinderbox did came out with a collar zip sweater, so I will be crocheting that. I started this sweater on September 15th and I finished it on November the 2nd. So panels does take me longer. It is less motivating because I can't try it on as I go. However, the end result is definitely worth it. I would make one again. But first I'm gonna try to see if the quarter zip pattern from Tinderbox, because that is made top down. So I'm very eager to start that one. And it has a different texture on the top than on the bottom, which I think is a very nice design choice. And maybe, I don't think I can replicate it top down with ribbing, because the ribbing only works sideways with crocheting. But maybe I can do one with half double crochet from top down. I would like to do that. So that were all the sweaters I made in my first year of crocheting and knitting. I hope you enjoyed. If you know any different crochet designer that has these kind of classic sweaters, please let me know down below. Let me know down below which sweater was your favorite. Did you make garments this year? Or are you still, feeling a bit scared about it? Let me know down below. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more K's from me, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, nerd!